Hey, good afternoon wherever you are in America. And also hello to wherever you are in the world. Hello Diana, hello Ivona, hello Necessary Truths. Greetings, thanks for dropping by. I'm doing just a short reference video, and mostly it's to congratulate myself and reassure myself that I'm not insane and that some of the wacky things that I predict actually come about. Yes, I know. Sounds like I'm tooting my own horn here. Let me see what I can... Yes, that's okay, Diana. I'm available. I've got a big reading book this week and maybe one little one, but otherwise I still have room. Let's have a look. So, right now, you might not have noticed it, but we just had a full moon. The sun is in early degrees Sagittarius and the moon was in early degrees Gemini, and that happened over here, it happened at about, I think, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't see it. I was fast asleep at the time. But it's kind of like, to me, it felt like Christmas, or like, because I went to bed thinking, I know I'm going to find something in the morning that's going to blow my mind regarding this full moon, because I couldn't quite figure it out at the time. I kept thinking, what is it? What is it with this full moon that is spooking me? And relative to all the other stuff, because I've been ranting and raving about the eclipses and the global financial crisis and the Scorpio-Taurus axis for the whole of the global financial system, freaking out, stressing out, fracturing, just coming apart at the seams like a slow-motion train wreck. Well, guess what? That's what's happening. Thank you for the endorsement, Necessary Truth. Yes, last night was a big deal because it was the first time I ever did a live reading on the Sunday night shows using my TarotLumination custom crucible spread, which is focused exclusively on relationships. So if you want to learn more about the crucible spread and how it works, you could watch that video from last night. The reading is, I think, sort of in the middle of the video. But anyway, thank you, Necessary Truth. I'm just adjusting the cameras a little bit. So, yes, Diana, if you want to book something, let me show you the routine in case you forgot. So that's not right. Where am I? I have to go over here. Give me a second, Diana. I'm going to show you some stuff. Over here, clickety-click, clickety-click. So, where was I? I'm going to come back to the stage in just a minute, but for now, I just want to do some routine. So this is the TarotLumination website, tarotlumination.com, okay, Diana? And what you can do, you can just go there and you can play with the links and you'll figure out how to book a reading and connect with me directly and send email notes in advance. Typically, if you're going to do a private reading, it really helps if you can include your birth data, like the day, the week, the day, the month, and the year, and the location. Those are all very important, very, very useful, depending on what type of reading we do. And if you want a hint at something to do with the subject matter, we'll figure out the right type of spreads to use and the right type of readings to have, okay? So anyway, yeah, there it is. There's TarotLumination.com. Right now, this is the donate page, but you can go to the readings page, you can go to the connect page, and you'll see where to log into your meeting on the meetings page, and so on, okay? So there we are. Let's get back over here for a minute. So, yeah, for me, the Scorpio season is typically very challenging, but we got through it. On top of it, of course, we had some eclipses, and then we had the really intense Scorpio new moon, which was really fierce, and it was basically pounding on the global financial system. And without going into long rants about all of it, pretty much everything that I suspected and predicted is happening. Massive fissures, fractures, implosions, shifts, and radical changes are happening inside the global financial system as it shows signs of weakening. Think of it as looking at a very old skyscraper that has lived its life, and big cracks are starting to show up in the foundations. And the big, huge, amazing facade that we all see as the United States Federal Reserve and the global fiat banking system, which is all based on debt, is starting to fracture very, very badly, coming apart. And all the participants, which of course means all the countries and all the central banks, are kind of scrambling like, what are we going to do? How are we going to avoid getting destroyed as this thing collapses? And it's already happening. Some countries are electing to choose a parallel path in their global financial history. So they are opting for a completely new system that operates outside, more or less outside of the existing system. And this is terrifying for the status quo and the elites and the globalists and the banksters who control and operate the whole system, including all the big financial institutions, the Blackstones, the BlackRocks, the Vanguards, the State Streets, all the mega corporations that own everything on earth. There's about 12 mega corporations, and they own all the subcorporations which own subcorporations that cover everything from the military industrial complex, the healthcare industrial complex, the food industrial complex, all of it. Traffic, commodities industrial complexes, everything. They own and control everything. And they're trying to create a globalized monopoly system, especially through the United Nations, the World Health Organization. I don't know if you knew this, but a few days ago, the United States declared that the whole world is going to be taxed under a new global tax system. Good luck with that, buddy. Try implementing that thing. You might expect a little bit of backlash. Yeah. The status quo are getting absolutely desperate. What they're starting to realize is that their master plan for total global communist, globalist, totalitarian, tyrannical domination based on, good old-fashioned empire tactics and communist Marxist tactics, they're falling apart, because they always do fall apart. Look what's happened in Venezuela, Argentina, Zimbabwe, Lebanon, Turkey, had terrible problems. Look what's happening in China, and we're going to get to that in just a minute, because that's the whole thing about this video. That's where I'm going to show. So many changes lately. Yes, Diana. Well, I made a video the other day about all the cusps. We had 5 cusps simultaneously. Today we have 4. But the other day I made videos about that. But today we have sort of looser cusps. We got Sun and Mars close to the cusp. We've got Pluto on the cusp. We've got Saturn on the cusp. The moon was on the cusp, a few hours ago, but that's moved on. Moon is in the middle of Gemini right now. So anyway, there I was, waking up. I actually got some real sleep, and some of my sinus stuff has cleared up. So it's a little bit easier to breathe today. And I kept thinking, I feel kind of embarrassed, ashamed, and sad that I come up with these predictions that are very disturbing, very frightening, based on the astrology and what I consider a completely neutral approach. Given my understanding of Western astrology, I just call it out as I see it. And then, lo and behold, poof, it happens. So I'm not a fortune teller. All I'm doing is I'm just being an observer, and it becomes more like a weather report. That's it. So I was looking at this full moon. The sun is in Sagittarius, very, very close to Mars in Sagittarius. Very, very hostile energy directly opposing the moon in Gemini. And that was also on the cusp, very close. And then I knew there was going to be this big fat T-square. I'm going to show you in just a minute. A big fat T-square with Saturn on the cusp, 0 to 1 degrees in Pisces. And I kept going, what is that? I know that's really, really bad for somebody or something somewhere. I know what it is. I already know that it's going to trigger the Donald Trump nodal axis, which is closely aligned with the American astrology and the upcoming Uranus in Gemini transit in a couple of years and so on. So I wasn't going to worry about that too much. I wanted to figure out what about right now, considering that we just came out of all my storylines about the global financial system convulsing and fracturing and imploding. And it's happening all over the world. Some people are looking for a way out of it, a way around it. And Argentina just elected this guy, Javier Milei, who's looking for a way around it using good old-fashioned Mises type economics, Austrian school of economics. And he's very, very much a libertarian, free market capitalist. And he's going to basically try to dismantle and destroy the communist regime over there. Same thing is happening over in the Netherlands, where Geert Wilders just got elected. And he's a very right-wing libertarian as well. And that's based all the inspiration from DJT, President number 45, who is also very keen on restructuring the global financial system in a way that puts America back on an even keel again. So, to me, those are all good signs. There's the whole cryptocurrency industry. Well, I guess phenomenon. Let's call it a phenomenon, which is still in the germination phase. It's not mainstream at all. Everyone's heard of Bitcoin and so on, but that's not mainstream yet. There's only about $1 trillion in crypto, and the global economy is hundreds of trillions of dollars, quadrillions. So anyway, I woke up and I thought, okay, I'll just get on with my day, and eventually something will hit me. It'll go, oh yeah, now I get it. So let me show you. All right, here's another one of my astrodoodles. And I forgot this one here. Whoa, wow. Okay, well, let me leave it like that. So there we are. There's the Sun and Mars early on near the cusps. There's the Gemini moon. So that was the full moon late last night, early this morning. The moon is already here, okay? And there's all the other stuff going on, whoopee, and we talked about this a lot, the big nodal axis under extreme pressure from Pluto. Great. We've got the retrogrades here, Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus, and so on. Libra is conjoined the South Node, so we've got serious relationship issues going on here. So let me add the finishing touches to the masterpiece here. Now I'm just doing TarotLumination magic. Okay, here it is. Bam-o. So what do we got? Bam-o. See that? That is a big fat T-square. Very ugly. Very, very painful for certain folks. And I thought, okay, what am I missing? How come I'm not seeing this? Donald Trump. Sure. Yeah, okay. I've got personal issues with this one. Okay, fine. But what's on the big stage? And so I was scrolling through. I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you. It's not prepped up. I'm just doing it live. I'm going to do it on my magic tablet. So you guys see I don't make up this stuff. I scroll all over the global news early in the morning. Multiple sources. I don't do a lot of deep dive military. I watch other channels that do that, like Canadian Prepper and Full Spectrum Survival and Monkey Works and so on. But anyway, oh God, my sinuses are acting up again. Excuse me. So here we are on World is One. And I was going through, okay, yeah, Israel, Hamas, Ukraine, and all the tons and tons of revolution and violence all over the world. And then I thought, ooh, what's this one? Ooh. Mr. Ping is falling from his pedestal. Oh, it's not showing up very well. There, you see that? That's a big, big problem. Why? I already knew why, but I wanted to see it in detail. So I opened the video.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stewart. Did you know that right now over 70 million people have had to leave their homes?
Okay, I'm gonna. Sorry, Patrick, gotta go.
Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Hold on, let me see if I can get this roll.
He is falling from his pedestal. He is going down with his country's economy. Here's the latest. Today, Hong Kong's leading stock exchange, the Hang Seng, plunged to a 2-week low. Share prices fell for the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Also, the country's construction bank. Stock values of China's tech giants fell as well, including Alibaba, Tencent, car maker, also trading in red, with its share prices falling as much as 4%.
Anyway, the point is, we've already described this. The Chinese economy is built on fraud. I mean, if you think the American Federal Reserve banking system is fake fraud, fiat currency, multiply that by 100 and you got the same thing in China multiplied by 100, okay? And it's imploding. And the fellow at the helm, Mr. Ping, he's been around for what, 10 years now or something? And he worked his way up through the Communist Party like they all do, through bribery, corruption, manipulation, coercion, subversion, blackmail, and probably a little bit of exterminations and backroom deals to get himself in the position of absolute power. In other words, a tyrant, a dictator of a massive 1.4 billion people economy called China under the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. And he inherited a lot of problems, and he thought with his God-given gifts he could fix them by waving his finger. Do this, do that. And the Chinese economy had already expanded tremendously before he got there. So he kind of managed to get on the roller coaster, sort of coming up to the top of the ride. So it looked like he was an amazing leader. And China was booming. And everything seemed okay. And then, come to see the astrology, China is actually imploding. The moment that Saturn got into Pisces quite a while ago, I predicted the Chinese economy was going to implode over a 2.5-year period. And that's exactly what is happening. Right now, here we are today, Saturn retrograded all the way back to 0. That puts intense pain on the Chinese economy. Why? Because China is born with Pisces on the second house of money. Okay? Saturn going through the second house can be very tough. Now, I think over the next year or so, Saturn is going to conjoin with Neptune, and that's going to be the actual implosion, complete implosion. It's not stoppable. So what's happening is all of the Chinese leaders are starting to look at Mr. Ping and say, what is going on? Our country is collapsing. There's extreme poverty everywhere. Money is flooding out of the country. People are trying to escape out of the country. The property real estate markets have collapsed, imploded. Banks are imploding. Shadow banks are imploding. Car makers are imploding. Families are imploding. The population is imploding. There's no more babies anymore. Boys and girls don't want to get married and have sex and make babies because they can't even take care of themselves as adults or young adults. There's extreme poverty all over China. On top of that, they've got massive issues with collapsing infrastructure and, all the floods and the pollution and everything like that. And so it's happening on other sources. I've seen it elsewhere, but I wanted to see something very definitive that said live. The reason I focused on that particular video is because this is the first video I've seen that calls it out directly. Mr. Ping is falling off of his pedestal. He came in on a big wave, made him look awesome on the world stage. I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to have the biggest, baddest military on earth. I'm going to claim every natural resource. I have infected every single country with CCP spies and Confucius institutions and bribery and corruption and blackmail throughout the world politics. Ha 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 ha. I'm in charge of the United Nations and the World Health Organization. Ha 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 ha. I'm going to make the yuan the global currency of the world. Ha 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 ha. It's not happening, people. Just the opposite is happening. He's realizing that Everything's fake. Everything that's been built in the last, 75 years since the birth of the latest latest version of China from 1949. You just have to look at the astrology. I should do another video. And you can see it all. So we're at this pivotal moment now where it is live, real time, on TarotLumination. We are declaring that China's going down. Okay? The more that they go down, the more aggressive and, let's say, what's the word? The more and more they're going to project themselves all over the world as taking over the world, because there's a lot of ego and narcissism involved here with the leadership, and they cannot be seen to be going down. So when they go down, they're going to have to blame it on something else. But right now inside China, a lot of the top leaders of the inside the CCP are looking to take him down, because in a structure like that, where you have a totalitarian regime, an extreme pyramid of power, where there is literally just one person at the very top with his button, his finger on every single button for every single bank, every single industry, every single politician, when things go wrong, who's going to get blamed? Well, it's going to be Mr. Ping. There's nowhere else to go. And he put himself in that position. So I think he's absolutely pooping his pants right now as he starts to realize that things are not going as planned, and they're not going to go as planned. The whole Belt and Road Initiative is imploding and collapsing because the CCP plan operates like an extremely vicious loan shark that preys on needy, crippled people and economies, and then bleeds them dry. But that's not working, because a lot of the economies that were infected by BRI are imploding themselves. So how is China supposed to recover all the printed money that it doled out? It can't. So it's imploding. Mr. Ping is realizing that his military is imploding. It's all because, like the whole economy, it's based on theft, intellectual property theft, and copycat stuff, and very, very shoddy delivery. A lot of the things a lot of us are very, very grateful for China, because we've had access to their slave camps for the last 40 years. But that storyline is ending. And China's desperate. So the more that the Chinese economy implodes here, the more that Mr. Ping is going to expand his aura across the earth as the new god, in order to take over the rest of planet Earth, in order to save himself and his country. He actually doesn't really care about his people. They're just expendables. But he cares about himself and his legacy. He wants to retire, or, on his gravestone, he wants to be remembered as the ultimate hero who made and saved China and took over the whole world. And it's not going very well. In fact, it's going the other direction. So why is that so important? So this thing was already active, but when you put the big fat T-square on top of it, it amplifies the pressure over here on Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is basically saying, I told you so. I told you so. If you want to manifest prosperity through evil, that's what you reap. You reap what you sow. Okay? You're planting seeds of evil, you get fruits of evil. So that's what's happening. So let me see, where am I? Over here now. Anyway, I just had my rant about that. Sometimes I get nervous because I'm seeing things and feeling things that I don't see any validations or verifications in any of the global information that I collect or that I study or explore. And so sometimes I get like, oh, what am I thinking? And then, like, that's what happened just recently. But I got validation. I got the validation. Saturn in Pisces is going to be a living hell for China for the next year or so. Year and a half maybe. And with the full moon, the Sagittarius Gemini axis hard squaring onto Saturn, that just expands it all, brings it into the full light of day, and that's what we're seeing. So it came to me onto the world stage through the little video that I just showed you. And there's all sorts of stuff that indicates the downfall of China and the serious problems. You're not seeing it anywhere on mainstream media. Even the one I showed you on World is One, that's not showing you anywhere near the horror story that's happening in China right now. The World is One is being polite. Let's put it that way. Because the reality inside China is horrific. It's absolutely horrific. If you think you're having a hard time here in America, you're living in luxury in comparison to the folks over in China. It's actually very frightening for me to watch this. Very sad as well. It's very, very tragic. And the reason it's happening is because of policies, of decisions by just a handful of people that affect 1.5 billion other people. It's a very, very strange thing to witness. Hello, Robin. Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't going to stay here too long. I'm not going to do any readings. I just wanted to get this report out there, and I'm going to try to stick it on my Rumble and my Twitter and my Truth Social and things. I find it really, really hard to do all the admin and all the housekeeping and the back office work to keep a channel going. Yeah, for every, look at it this way, when I was in the glory days of TarotLumination doing 40 videos per month, I would have to work at least 8 or 10 hours a day, 6 days a week to make that happen. So I kind of burned out, and I'm not going back to that. I can't do it anymore. Uh-oh, Bubba's here. Gotta go. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll see you again very, very soon. I didn't mean to scare you. I just wanted to inform you and toot my own horn a little bit about what I saw and how it aligns now with the astrology.